Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Got in that good rock, didn't you?
I got in the good rock. I found me a bass, Pete. Fired up.
Yeah,
I love it when they get on structure early in the season, don't you?
they're so strong.
They're so strong.
They've been, they look really good, nice and healthy for being post-spawn.
All right, buddy. He's not even that big, he's just healthy.
Yeah, they're...
8. Okay.
We take him in a lot of tournaments here
Oh,
at Lake
yeah.
Placid sometimes.
Let's open. All right, nice one. It's getting to that season where fish are starting to bail from the shore and move out to some deeper structure. And you guys haven't seen a lot of this guy, but this is one of my oldest fishing friends. This is Brett Hite, an unbelievable angler, but honestly, the guy that taught me and inspired me to structure fish. So today we're just out here kind of playing around for the morning, and we're gonna pick his brain, and maybe he can teach you guys a little bit about some structure fishing too. It's good to see you again,
Yeah,
dude.
you
It's
too,
been
bud.
a long
Yeah.
time. All right, that's on the Yamamoto Sensei worm. I'm gonna get that one back. Nice. Nice, healthy fish. Thank you, buddy. Nice. So fun. Brett, we seem to fish together always about this time of the year. And I know it's because it's kind of, you know, you get some downtime. You're on the road so much. But it's kind of the only time we get to spend with each other is this kind of post-spawn summer type structure type fishing. What is it that you look for, and why is this happening right now?
Well, I mean, like here on our reservoir style lakes, you know, the fish are done spawning. It's getting hot. You know, water temperature starts at 75, is gonna get up probably in the low 80s. The fish have moved out of the coves and they like to get on these shallower points and humps. I'm really looking for these little rock clumps or isolated tree out on these points where the main lake is close to the drop off.
Okay.
Is what I'm always looking for. The cove around from us is probably one of the best spawning coves. You know,
In the whole lake.
In the lake.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean they spawn in there for 2 months.
Yep.
So they just migrate out and come around the point. You know, I mean that's nothing for them to come out of there and just feed their way to a spot where they like.
Yeah.
That
So
has the right stuff.
if they come out here to this main lake point, do they then just kind of use it as their home and try to find some food and feed up and then see what the next step is, or do they have a plan, you think?
I think as the water progressively gets warmer, the bait fish are gonna do something different, whether it's the crawfish, the bluegills, or the shad.
Yeah.
So as it gets warmer, they're gonna go to a different, and the water starts coming down. That's what we have here a lot. So the water's always dropping in the summertime. So that just starts pushing the fish farther out and deeper.
Understood.
So they like this spot. And then, you know, there might be a spot another quarter-mile away that they like at a lower level or a hotter temperature.
So they're just going to keep adjusting to what they need based on temperature, water depth, where the food is. They're just going to keep being kind of nomadic. They're just going to keep wandering until they find.
And they're going to, you know, they're going to find a spot that they like for, you know, maybe a month, you know.
Okay.
You hope for a month.
Yep.
Usually these are the most predictable bass. Like if you're on your home lake, they normally go to this point, this point, this point. I can usually catch one there all the time. Maybe,
Yeah,
it might
year
not
after
be as,
year after year.
That's right.
They're going to follow the same path. We're fishing a couple different rigs right now. I'm throwing an NEKO rig, you're throwing a free rig, both with worms. Why, of all the things in our arsenal, why the worm for this time of the year?
Well, you got to look at your lake. I mean, this is a deep, clear water reservoir. and it gets quite a bit of pressure. But day in and day out, whether it's a bigger worm or even a bigger worm like the Sensei, instead of using a small like 4.5 or even a 6-inch skinny, they seem to like that bigger worm this time of year. And a Carolina rig's another really good tool.
Yep.
Around here, of course, drop shot. Right now, it just seems like they're on the bottom a little bit more, sucked to the bottom.
Yep.
As the summer progresses, it seems like they get on the drop shot a little bit better, a little bit raised,
a little more off the bottom.
So that tells me that they're probably eating a lot of crawdads right now after they spawn.
Okay. Understood. So, you know, today we're boat shallow and we're dragging uphill, basically. Why that, and when do you choose to drag uphill versus drag downhill? Is there a formula to it for you?
I mean, if I'm not fishing out in like 35 to 55, you know, I'm gonna be making short little pitches and almost fishing vertical. I mean, we might catch one in 40 foot right now, but we might catch one in 10 or 15. So dragging uphill allows me to control the bait a lot better. I can feel it. I can get into those like sweet little rock spots that those fish are in, and I can feel that bait working in those sweet spots. If you're at a real steep point or a steep break, and you're working it off that break, you're gonna have a tough time feeling a NEKO worm.
Sure.
Something lighter, you know?
Yep. You could have a little rock clump and maybe one little groove or one little slit in that rock that bass is sitting. You're never going to find that dragging downhill because you're dragging over it.
Yeah,
right? And it's just falling too fast.
Don't feel, the worm might be in that, and you get a bite, but you don't really know why you got a bite because you didn't. I mean, pulling it down, the worm gets in that spot, you get a bite, but you didn't feel that.
Yeah.
You couldn't feel, and now working it uphill, I can cast up there, and it's like, okay, every single time I get in that clump of rocks right there, that little, like, it just feels right. You better hold on.
So with graphs being so unbelievable now and virtually showing you everything, you're still relying on feel from your bait. Why not just scope around and graph around and see what it has to show you? Why still rely on feel for what you're searching for?
So, I mean, I'm making the cast with my Panoptics. You know, I'll see the clump out there, but just knowing where that bait is a lot of the time when they're feeding on the bottom, being able to tell myself, okay, slow the bait down, you're in the right rocks.
Yep.
Like that, those kind of rocks are the rocks I've been getting bit in, and you can slow yourself down. You don't know if, I mean, I know the clump of rocks is out there, I can see it, but I don't, you know, when you start feeling it, it tells yourself, hey, slow down. This is where you should bite, you know?
So you're not necessarily relying on your graphs to show you every fish. And I think this is where some people are getting confused with Panoptics and with Live Scope, is that if they don't see a specific fish, then they're not casting. Sometimes we're using it just to find the structure.
That too, exactly.
We're still using our knowledge of fishing to know, hey, that's the kind of stuff they could be in. If that fish is glued to the bottom in those rocks that you're watching right now,
it's going to be very tough to see them.
You may not see it, but you know from experience that it's probably there.
Yep.
Yeah, understood.
Yep. As sonar pressure gets more and more, the fish, they figure out how to adapt a little bit, whether it's getting super tight to the bottom, getting on certain places where like maybe a real steep drop off, like a vertical drop off, where if they're up against it, you can't hardly see them.
Understood. So they're trying to camouflage themselves against our technology.
They feel that. They feel that beam right there.
Yep.
There's 100% they feel it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of like we started around the point and I just trolling motored in. I mean, this place gets a lot of pressure. Being a little stealthy and a little sneaky can go a long ways. I mean, to get a couple extra bites.
For sure.
Instead of driving right up on the spot and
doing what everybody else on the lake is doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like we're hunting the bass.
It'll kill them.
Oh, I got one. Uh-oh.
Nice. He was right in that stuff.
He was right below the boat.
Yep.
I mean, the boat's in 13.
Yep, so he was shallow.
That's right where that point kind of starts to break off.
Right on that taper.
Yep.
No way you would have seen them on a graph.
See, they stopped biting the big worm after I kind of pressured them a little bit. I think that was the second cast with a NEKO. Not a big one, but pretty fish. I can see some kind of cruising around down there. And Ben caught one. So I just, you know, you got to finesse them up every once in a while. A lot of time on these spots, you know, it's just like fishing a ledge on Tennessee River, you know, throw that big bait out there first and either get them fired up, and then after you maybe catch a couple, they're gonna get off that big bait, then you're gonna have to finesse them up a little bit.
NEKO rigging is one of the simpler methods of rigging a soft plastic, and oftentimes it can kind of go hand in hand with the drop shot. A lot of times when they're eating a drop shot, they'll eat the NEKO rig, and they kind of go back and forth as good kind of A/B techniques, right? You can use one and then follow up with the next. But you know, when I'm in Japan, the NEKO rig is far more popular than the drop shot, and mainly because in Japan they say that the NEKO rig's got a lot more style, right? So it requires you to kind of input yourself into it a lot more than a drop shot. So it's a really fun way to fish, but it's a way that's overlooked a lot. I feel like it just gets overshadowed. So, you know, essentially all you need is a hook. So we're throwing Gamaktsu G Finesse, just a size 4 kind of stinger hook. You need a worm. So the Yamamoto Sensei worm is a great one for this. And it's just, we're throwing a morning dong, so we're fishing really clear water. I have an ARK Tungsten nail weight, super scientific. I just look at the package to figure it out. It's 7/64 of an ounce. Basically, you just kind of eyeball, right? And you know, if you're fishing deep water, you kind of grab a big nail weight, and if you're fishing shallow water, you can grab a small nail weight. You don't have to worry about knowing every single size nail weight in your box, but you want an assortment of them just so you can do some different things. So since we're fishing anywhere from basically 15 to 40, the heavier weight helps just get it down. And you're gonna need an O-ring just to put on the middle, just to make sure you're not casting off your worm. And that's pretty much it. So when you're throwing the NEKO, I notice you're giving it a couple of twitches and then just kind of pausing, and it's just letting the worm kind of quiver and then stay on the bottom.
I like to shake it on a slack. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh! On a slack line.
Just kind of puffing around, the way a crawdad would if it was kind of moving around.
Right.
Yep.
Pink crawdads.
Pink crawdads, yep.
They're a big thing.
So what is morning dawn looking like to them down there? We're throwing it at 20, 25 feet. Is it looking like a pink worm, or you think it's shifting?
I'm sure it's changing colors with lower light at 25 to 40 foot.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Make it happen.
Oh, come on.
Oh, again?
He never had it. But he's gonna get it this time, you watch. More shaky.
Is your NEKO retrieve, is your NEKO movement almost always the same?
No, sometimes it's, you know, it's up.
More vertical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you think the fish are a little bit more off the bottom, you know, pop it up. But doing that, you're not gonna have as good a bottom contact and really be able to feel.
Okay.
Right now, it seems like the fish are definitely bottom oriented.
So simply by adjusting our movement of our rod, if we are shaking upwards, we're moving that worm off the bottom, letting it flutter back down.
That's correct.
Okay, and then by moving it more horizontally, we're kind of just, it's just kind of scudding around the bottom.
It's just going along the bottom, it's chitty chatting on the bottom, you know, and it's just cook like that, and then stop, and that's why I like to shake it on a slack line, so you're not moving it a ton.
Okay, yeah.
Hey!
All right.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah. God, they're so strong when they're fresh on the feed, aren't they?
Oh.
They've recovered from spawn, and now they're strong.
Double hookup.
Uh-oh. Well, mine's definitely bigger.
Oh, no way. I got the Bubba scale.
I'm gonna baby mine because I don't want to hear any nonsense coming from you. Look at that cute little fish you caught, Brett.
Doesn't it suck to lose?
Oh, mine's definitely bigger.
Oh, look at the mouth on this one.
Oh, bro, come on.
That's
Yours
because
is
you got
weak.
the hook in the mouth.
Yours is so weak.
I mean, look at this beautiful specimen. I mean, he's got 2 big old marks on him.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a gorgeous bass.
He's a badass.
Disgusting, perfectly healthy fish. Good job, dude.
Yeah.
Sick. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Back to back. You set the hook, and I'm just shaking it, and you're winding them in, and mine goes dunk dunk. I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh, I heard uh-oh. I'm like, all right, we got something.
Yeah, we finally ran into them.
Well, I gotta say, dude, the improvements to this line of combat sticks is huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the rod technology, like in 5 and 6 years.
Crazy.
What happens?
Yep.
You know, I mean, they're still in the same price point realm. These new ones are about $25 more, but
Yep.
for the improvements that you get, the lightness.
It feels like it's double the rod, like twice the rod. So
Yeah.
the old combat sticks
It was a workhorse, man. I mean,
no question.
Yeah.
One of our best selling rods we ever had. People loved just the durability and the fact that, you know, one rod could do so many different things. The new ones, I think those old ones were out for so long that people just kind of became accustomed to them.
that's right.
That
Yep.
the new ones, if they haven't put them in their hands yet, I think they're gonna shock people.
Yeah.
So much lighter. What did you guys do to try to just recreate this generation?
We kept a lot of the same, pretty much all the same actions, and just kind of redefined them a little bit, just revamped them a little bit. Whether this rod needed a little bit longer handle for better balance, you know, the sensitivity got better on them. The actual blank size is smaller.
Much thinner.
You know, yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it just feels better in your hand. And we added a bunch of actions that we didn't have that we were missing in the lineup.
Now the rods that we're fishing the NEKO rig on, this has been kind of your staple, like signature spinning rod for a long time. And this is the type of rod that is, you know, on the West Coast, we had drop shot and NEKO rig and all these different things that we were experimenting with so much earlier than a lot of the rest of the country. And this was the kind of rod that you and Aaron and Murray and, you know, all the early adapters of, you know, more finesse techniques gravitated towards. Talk to me about what we're using and why you like this rod.
You know, I like anywhere from a 7-footer to a 7.4. Fishing out west, trying to get the bait away from the boat. That's where I really like the 7.4. You can make a long cast, whether I'm fishing a small swim bait on this, you know, with boilers or something like that, or, you know, fishing that NEKO rig drop shot. It's just an all-around real versatile spinning rod.
Yeah, so this, I should say, this is the 7.4 medium.
That's right.
Yep.
The 7.4 medium. And it has a soft tip, but right about, you know, I would say about the 5th guide down, 5th, 6th guide, it's got a lot of backbone to it. So you can still get that good shake, whether you're drop shotting or NEKO rigging. And when the fish bites it, you're still gonna have that tip where he loads up on it, but you're gonna have some power. If you get a 5 or 6 pounder on in a brush pile, you want to be able to move that fish out of that brush pile.
No question.
There's no perfect all-around rod,
of course not.
But I mean, like all-around NEKO rig, drop shot, throwing a small swim bait.
You could throw a Senko
on
this.
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just super versatile. It's just a good all-around rod.
Yeah.
For finesse fishing. And the other cool thing, we did put a hook keeper here, and then we put a drop shot weight keeper down here.
Yep.
Because if you put your drop shot weight up here and you got a long leader, and then you go to put your sleeve on, then your hook gets caught up in here.
This is true. Yep.
So we did put 2 different keepers on here, one for your drop shot weight, and then one, you know, if I'm just using the drop shot or this without putting my sleeve on, it works fine.
Right.
You know, but if you put a sleeve on and then you got the hook up here,
it's snagging the sleeve. You're just creating problems.
Yeah, exactly. Strong Lake Pleasant bass. They just like that thing down there where they're feeding for those crawdads. Oh, just popped out. Little green pumpkin blue. Nice pretty one. But what's nice about the Sensei worm, you know, they made it kind of a slow float or a slow sinking material. It's not full like Senko material, so it doesn't sink like a rock. But if you're using it weightless, you know, it's going to stay in that strike zone. So it's kind of in between. And of course it has a flat side. I like hooking a NEKO rig in the flat side if I want it to move more water. It's going with that flat side. If you don't want it to move more water, hook it on the rounded side. It's just a good all-around worm. You know, it's 6.5 inch, something that we've needed in the lineup. Whether you drop shot it, NEKO rig, wacky rig it, you could throw it on a shaky head. The other nice thing that they did, you know, they kind of made the head on this kind of blunt. So if you're using a shaky head or something like that, it's not pointed. You don't have to cut it off. It's pretty much ready to go. But just a good all-around worm.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Did you see that?
dude, that was a big one.
Did you see that shit? What the?
That was a big one, dude.
What the fuck?
You got... Easy. It's a fish of a lifetime. It's a good one. Hopefully you bring the school to my worm.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull them to you.
Yep.
Sorry, dude.
Go, no, you're good. I'm in cast over here.
Oh, they're so strong. All right.
It's a nice, fat, healthy one right there.
All right. Nice.
That's a
Guys
good
are
one, dude.
strong, and you can tell that that's kind of a beat fish. You know, he's got a rough jaw, probably just finished spawning a few weeks ago. Now he's moved offshore. Fins are starting to come back.
Got a good belly on him.
Yep, looking healthy, obviously super strong. That's a fun way to fish. It's been a fun morning, dude.
Yeah, it's finally got a little hot.
Yeah.
We're about ready to go, and we
Yep.
caught the biggest fish of the day.
Yeah,
right
of
there.
course, how it works. But dude, I appreciate you, you know, coming out and spending some time on the water
Yeah,
with
thanks,
me.
man. It was awesome. I mean, it's a fun way to fish. It's another backup, another technique to the drop shot that is absolutely deadly.
Yeah, they love that NEKO rig, and they see so many drop shots here. It's cool to show them something different. So, all right, thank you, buddy. Good way to wrap. I hope that was insightful, not just on a different way to structure fish that's not as common as, you know, like a drop shot. A really fun way to do it. It's a fun way to kind of extend your season, but hopefully, you know, some of that insight from Brett on what he's looking for, angles, that kind of stuff. Start thinking about these things. This is how we learn and we expand our arsenal. So, Brett, I appreciate you spending
Thanks,
time.
man.
Always
Thanks
good
for
to
going
see
with
you.
me.
And we will see you guys again soon. I'm ready to take a swim. You?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm going in the drink.